What a heck of a day here at the Tour de France, medium mountain stage in the Southern Alps. Summit finish up here to Superdévoluy. And it's Richard Carapaz winning from an escape move. And back behind, the GC riders were attacking each other with Remco Evenepoel coming out on top. I'll get to all that action, but first let's roll it back because it was an exciting stage from the start. And unlike yesterday's stage where we had a boring stage for the first 90 kilometers, today, after 20 kilometers or so, it lit up. Riders were attacking left and right until we got this power move of four riders. The four riders included, yes, the rider with the blue mustache from Team Uno X, the Dane, Magnus Kort. Also in there, Romain Gregoire, Bob Jungels from Red Bull, and Tish Benoot from Visma Lease Bike. It appeared they weren't trying to set up something today for Jonas Vingegaard, setting second overall, but trying to get their man up the road to win a stage. We saw several attempts also with Matteo Jorgensen and Wout van Aert, but it was Tish Benoot that was making that power move of four riders. The intermediate sprint was interesting because after a large group got free, it came back, and back behind was an important sprint for fifth place because those green jersey points are significant. That battle between Jasper Philipsen, who won the stage yesterday, and Biniam Girmay, who led by 32 points heading in today's stage. Well, Biniam Girmay won the sprint for fifth place, picking up an additional point over Jasper Philipsen, who finished sixth in the sprint. Biniam Girmay now leads with 33 points in the green jersey, and there's just one more stage, stage 19, that we need to keep an eye on. If Biniam Girmay passes that test, well, yes, he's going to win the green jersey. And Eritrean in green, assuming he finishes the race when we wrap up on Sunday in Nice. I just saw him ride past there. He's looking okay. The knee doesn't seem to be giving him any problems after that crash. But now let's talk about the escape up front and what was going on. They were working well together. We had three climbs in the final part of today's stage. A smaller climb, then that second climb, a categorized one climb, and that was the biggest one of the day. And finally, the final climb leading up here to the finish, Superdévoluy. It was on that penultimate climb, the Cat 1 climb, the Nuer climb, where the action unfolded. Because that group of four, although it was working well together, didn't have the firepower of an elite hard climber. And it was a rider I predicted yesterday in the preview show, Richard Carapaz, who would benefit on the day to go for the stage win. But it wasn't him to launch the initial attack that bridged up to the four. It was Simon Yates, Jayco Lula rider, winner of the Vuelta a España in the past, coming here to hopefully pick up a stage win after his GC hopes failed. Remember, they'd already picked up a stage win with Dylan Groenewegen, but he was out for his chance today. He bridged up to that four-man move so quickly, attacking midway up that climb. Right on his wheel was also Richard Carapaz, who attacked just afterwards, bridged up to Simon. They were together. Also Stevie Williams, winner of Flèche Wallonne from Israel Premier Tech. Now Simon Yates, Richard Carapaz, they immediately attacked the four and went free over the top of the Nuer climb, down in the valley. Well, Richard Carapaz would attack Simon Yates. Richard Carapaz would go up the road, and Simon Yates would never be able to match him again, never see him again until the finish line here. And Simon Yates was upset when we saw him here. He was called in for anti-doping control. He rode down the hill. He thought he was going to his team bus. He had to come back up. Press officer asked him, "Hey, Simon, you mind doing an interview here real quick?" He said, "I don't want to, but if I have to, yes." I said, "Simon, are you ready?" He said, "No, but go ahead." Kind enough, the Englishman. He allowed me to ask some questions, and yeah, obviously, maybe he spent too much energy early on, he said, trying to get to that move. But he said today he played his card, he did his chance to try to get that stage win. I asked him if he had other opportunities up the road. He said he doesn't know. It depends on what the GC guys want to do. And just when you think the GC guys aren't going to do anything in this race, well, the missiles start to fire. And it's Tadej Pogacar already with a healthy 3-minute lead over Jonas Vingegaard, winner of the last two editions of the Tour de France, but suffering coming into this Tour de France. We thought he was going to be back to his best after that crash on April 4, and he was riding well in the early parts of this Tour de France stage win, but now he has a deficit of 3 minutes after the weekend stage there in the Pyrenees. And Tadej didn't really seem to have to add more insult to injury, but he does today. He attacks on that climb right away. Jonas is distance. He's trailing. He looks back at Remco Evenepoel, and at that point he just pops, slides back, and doesn't chase. And it's Remco Evenepoel who's doing the chasing immediately. They all come back together. Then we have the final kicker up here to the finish line. It's the shorter, the easier of those final two climbs. And that's where Remco Evenepoel, who said he was just going to start looking back and protecting his spot in third place overall, well, that's where Remco Evenepoel digs in, goes for the attack, a white jersey. We just saw him ride by here after he accepted his white jersey on the podium. Well, Remco Evenepoel is going to be pretty happy with his move today, because with that attack today, he gained 12 seconds on Jonas Vingegaard. First rider behind him was Tadej Pogacar, who was at 10 seconds, and Tadej put in 2 seconds on Jonas, which doesn't make too much of a difference. But those 12 seconds from Remco to Jonas do make a difference, because when you're looking at the GC, and we're seeing it here now on the screen, Remco Evenepoel is moving even closer to Jonas Vingegaard, and it all depends on how Jonas handles these Alps in the coming days, because if he's on the ropes, Remco Evenepoel in his debut of the Tour de France after winning the Vuelta a España a couple years ago, he could have a shot for second overall. Now I think the trophy, the yellow jersey, is out of Remco's reach, but who knows, anything's possible in this Tour de France. Just when you think the GC guys aren't going to attack, just when you think an escape doesn't have a chance, well, we're proven wrong. So today showed us to brace ourselves for a few more good days of racing, few more days in the mountains before we had that final TT day in Nice. And the escape winner, well, oh, what a winner. Richard Carapaz, the Ecuadorian, won the Giro d'Italia, also the only rider in several years, I think he's the 8th in history, to win stages in all 3 Grand Tours. Not just that, what makes him important is that he held the leader's jersey in all 3 Grand Tours, and underlined, and he was on the podium in all 3 Grand Tours. So he's an established, experienced rider, and that's what he used today, the experience, his legs as well, to handle Simon Yates and to pull off victory. Spoke of Nielsen Paulus, the American of EF Education team, and he was over the moon. For him, it felt like a victory, just like it felt like a victory for Van der Poel yesterday, setting up Jasper Philipsen. So up here on the top today, Superdévoluy, we had Richard Carapaz celebrating from the escape, and we had fireworks from the GC guns today. A great day of racing out at the Tour de France.